Hey guys, welcome to another Bible Stories with Bella. Today we are going to be looking at the next part of the story with Jacob and Esau. So remember last week, Jacob and Esau were born to Isaac and Rebekah. Now do you remember who Isaac was? He was Abraham's son. So we had Abraham, who God promised would have as many descendants as the stars in the sky. Then we had Isaac, and Isaac married Rebekah. And Isaac and Rebekah had twins, Jacob and Esau. Now, were these twins exactly the same? No, they weren't. These twins were very different. Esau was red and hairy and was a hunter. And Jacob had softer skin, smoother skin, and was fair, meaning he had lighter hair, and he liked to stay home with his mom and cook and take care of things at the tents. So these boys could not be any more different. But God told Isaac and Rebekah, 2 nations are inside of you, and the two will be separated. One will be stronger than the other, and the older brother will serve the younger. So last week we read about how Jacob tricked Esau into giving him his birthright. So remember, Jacob lied, and he took advantage of his brother, and Esau was mean and demanded things. So neither brother acted very good, right? And God had this plan. He knew from the beginning that the older brother, Esau, would serve the younger, Jacob. But Jacob kind of took the plan into his own hands, right? So instead of waiting for God to do the work, he tried to make it happen himself. So he took Esau's birthright for just a bowl of soup. So many years passed, and their father Isaac became very old and blind. Fearing he may die soon, he called for Esau and said, "Take your bow and arrow to the country and bring back some wild game. Prepare a meal just the way I like it and bring it to me. Then I will give you my blessing." Now remember, Esau was the oldest son, so he was supposed to lead all of Isaac's people when Isaac died. So Isaac was ready to give his blessing to Esau and pass on that blessing to him. So since Esau was the hunter, he told him to go out and bring back some wild game. So that's go hunting is basically what he told him. But when Rebekah heard what Isaac had said to Esau, she called for Jacob. She told Jacob she had a plan to trick Isaac so that he would be the one to take the food to Isaac and receive the blessing. Jacob was concerned Isaac would know. So you see Isaac sending Esau away, sending him off to go hunt and bring him food so that he can give him his blessing. But Rebekah wanted to trick Isaac. Now, Jacob said to his mother, "Esau is hairy and I am not. What if Father touches me and finds out I'm not Esau? What if he curses me instead of blesses me?" So, listen again here. Jacob isn't saying, "No, mother, this is wrong to trick my father." Jacob is saying, "Oh, but we'll be found out." Have you ever thought about doing something wrong and decided not to do it because you thought you might get caught? Sometimes we think about if we're going to get caught more than if it's the right thing to do. So that's what Jacob was thinking. Rebekah said, "The curse will be upon me. Now do as I tell you." Then Jacob dressed in Esau's clothes, and with his hands covered with goat skins, took the meal to his father's room. Now remember, Jacob was much smoother. He was not as hairy and not as rough because he didn't spend as much time out in the sunshine, and he didn't go and do the hard work, the hard labor that Esau did. He did more chores around their home. And so he had smoother skin. So even though Isaac was so old that he was almost blind, he could feel Esau's hands and know that it was Esau. But they covered him in goat's fur to give him that rough and hairy texture so that when Isaac went to feel Jacob, he would be hairy and rough. Jacob said to his father, "The Lord God has given me a successful hunt. Rise and eat, and give me your blessing." Isaac said, "Come close so I may touch you to know if you are really Esau." When Isaac touched the hairy goatskin hands and smelled Esau's clothes, he blessed him, saying, "May all people bless and serve you. May nations bow down to you." Now Jacob had taken Esau's birthright and his blessing. So there is Jacob coming into his father, and you can see Rebekah watching to make sure everything goes okay. Jacob going in and bringing the food to his father. And you can see on his hands the goat skin. And then Jacob lied, not only lying saying that he was Esau, but he lied saying, "The Lord God has given me a successful hunt." He lied about God. Is that a good thing to do? No, not at all. Because does God know our hearts when we lie? He knows our hearts. And when we lie, are our hearts clean? No, our hearts go dark. And when if we lie about God, that's really bad to do, right? We should never lie about God. But Jacob chose to lie about God and get his father's blessing. Now again, remember, God had told Rebekah and Isaac that the older brother, Esau, would serve the younger, that Jacob would go on to lead a whole nation. But was this the way you think God wanted him to do it? Do you think God wanted Jacob to lie to Isaac and trick Esau? No, God had a plan, but Jacob and Rebekah took it into their own hands, and that's never good. But Isaac blessed Jacob. Remember, he said, "May all people bless and serve you. May the nations bow down to you." Just as Jacob left his father's room, in came Esau with a tasty meal he had prepared for his father. "Rise and eat, and give me your blessing," Esau said. "Who are you?" Isaac asked. "I am your firstborn son, Esau," he answered. Isaac trembled. "Who was it then that brought me food and received my blessing? For he will be blessed indeed." When Esau heard his father's words, he cried, "Bless me too, father, bless me too." Isaac raised his head and said, "Your brother has deceived me. He has taken your blessing, and I have made him lord over you and all your relatives. I can give you nothing." Isaac had blessed Jacob and made him lord over all of their family, made him in charge over all of their family and all of the people in their group. And he had already done it. Jacob had taken that from Esau. Esau hated Jacob and said to him, "The day is coming when I will kill you." So remember, Jacob and Esau, when they were in their mommy's belly, they fought, they kicked. And when they came out, Jacob was grasping, holding on tight to Esau's heel. So these brothers have always been at odds. They have always been at odds. But this was the last straw for Esau. He said, "The day is coming when I will kill you." And when Rebekah heard what Esau had said, she sent for Jacob and told him to leave at once. And he left. She told him to go to her brother's house and stay until Esau's anger had quieted. But what Jacob didn't know is when he left, he would never see his mother and father again. He left. He would never see her again. He went on this journey. His mother sent him on this journey. And he would never see her again. Now, God had a plan, right? Do you think even when Jacob made all of these mistakes, he lied and he tricked people, do you think God's plan is still going to happen? Give you a spoiler, yes, absolutely. God still has a plan, no matter what. God has a plan. So even though Jacob did things all the wrong way, God is still going to use him to do some amazing things. Did you know that even when we mess up, God still has a plan for us? And even when we mess up, He's still going to use us to do some pretty amazing things. Well, next week, you guys, we're going to talk a little bit about some of the amazing things that Jacob did. Just the beginning of his journey. All right, you guys, I'll see you next week. Have a wonderful week.